thank you, Judy, and thanks for having me out here today. It's always a pleasure to talk about what I do every day and sort of let people know kind of the excitement I share. For the most part, it's certainly a project that's had its ups and downs, and anybody who's ever read a newspaper knows that we've had our share of downs. And right now we're on an up, and I'm feeling really good about the project, so it's nice to go out and share where we're going. Have to do that every time.
Yeah, you can just click on that. No, so it's scheduled.
Here we go. Maybe I just have to stand over here and talk loud. I can do that too. What are we doing with the Edmotnnon Arena project? It's a lot more than just an arena. Really, the arena is one of many projects that the city government is looking at in our downtown, and it's an effort to really vitalize our downtown, get people coming downtown. The saying goes that if you have a successful downtown, you have a successful city. And we've been neglecting our downtown for many years, and we're about to reinvest into it. I don't know what button we hit. Left button. Left button. Ah, there we go. Okay, so here's our downtown. Citywide, over the last decade or almost decade, our budget citywide has been about $9 billion. Of that, only $103 million has gone to the downtown. So while the downtown generates 10% of the city's total municipal property tax revenue, it's only been getting just over 1% of its share of expenditures. If you look at our downtown, and this is an area where we're looking at diverting some tax dollars specifically to the arena project, over 50% of the land is either vacant or underdeveloped. So it's an area that's in dire need of revitalization. This is the site of where the arena is going to be going, and as you can see, it's sitting in an area which is predominantly a bunch of parking lots. The Baccarat Casino is to the east. There's a condo apartment building to the west. That's between the sides of 103rd and 104th. That's where the Greyhound currently sits, and then Headquarter Tower just a little bit further east. So when we were doing the downtown, we looked at how it fit into the city's plans for the downtown, not just an arena district, but all of our downtown. And actually, this process started back in 2008. There was a report done by Northlands at the time that said that Rexall Place needed a major upgrade because it was falling well behind NHL standards. The city, as the major concert venue in the city, it was falling well behind, so it needed a major facelift. And the estimate of value, or the cost to do that, was about $250 million. So we kind of choked on that number, and we said, rather than spending $250 million to fix up an old building, should we be looking at a different building? Should we be looking at something new? And if we're going to look at something new, where should it be? So there was a task force struck, a number of business and community leaders, the Oilers, Edmonton Northlands, and members from City Council. They formed a visioning committee, and the results of that study said that we indeed should build a new facility, and it should be downtown. And it said actually that the opportunity to put a new arena downtown reflected, in their opinion, the single biggest opportunity that the city had on its horizon over the next 10 years. But the arena is not the only thing that we're looking at doing in the downtown. There are a number of CRL projects, CRL being Community Revitalization Levy. And when people hear the word levy, they think it's an additional tax. It's not an additional tax. What it is, it's a direction of existing tax dollars that if your taxes go up, that increase in tax dollars that goes up is diverted to a project. And the projects that we're looking at funding include the arena, they include a major new park in the downtown. All of those yellow lines there are green and walkable streets, major upgrade to Jasper Avenue, extending the River Valley system, and also a housing incentive program. And that's one that I'm still struggling with a little bit. Personally, if there's going to be a lot of development happening as a result of the arena, which we truly think will happen, why are we investing in a housing incentive program? And really, this program is geared to family housing. We think that it's important that we not just have young adults downtown, but we want to have more families downtown. So this incentive program is geared specifically to family housing. And again, it's really what we're trying to do is transform our downtown from an internal commercial series of headways and businesses to an area where people become more street-oriented. They get out and they move around, and it's both winter and summer. They embrace outdoors and they embrace the downtown. There's a lot of people in Edmonton that live in the suburbs and they have no reason to go downtown, and they don't. And what we're trying to do is give them a reason to come downtown. We just look at that. There are other downtown projects that are also underway right now. We've got that whole redevelopment area that you see on the right-hand side of the screen there called the Quarters. A lot of infrastructure has gone into there to enable redevelopment to take place. We've got Capitol Boulevard, we've got a new museum, we've got the arena. A number of new projects are going on in the downtown. And if you add in what we're looking at doing with the CRL plus projects that are already underway or have been initiated by other levels of government, it totals over $4 billion. So exactly what is the arena project and the district? It starts off with the arena building itself. The building is about a $480 million facility. It's going to be owned by the City of Edmonton. The land is owned by the City of Edmonton, and we're entering into a long-term lease with the Cates Group to operate the arena. They're going to be entitled to all revenues from the arena, and in exchange they're responsible for all operating costs, all maintenance costs, capital and ongoing operating. And that is a significant piece, and I probably don't have to explain that to you people in this room, but looking after the operating and capital maintenance was probably the biggest negotiating issue that we faced going through this project. Another piece of the project is the Winter Garden, and that's providing safe crossing of 104th Avenue. It's in one way just a large pedestrian crossing, plus 15, but it's a significant crossing. It's not just a bridge. It started off at over $100 million. It's now been whittled down to a measly $56 million. It's not just a pedestrian corridor. It's also, there can be events held in there. There can be different tournaments. It can be tailgate parties. It can be both public and private events carried on in the Winter Garden. That's being paid for 50-50. The city's kicking in $25 million, and the Cates Group is putting in however much more it takes. If it's 50 million, then it's split 50-50. If it's more than 50 million, they pay the overage. If it's less than 50 million, we share on how much it is under. So that was a good deal for the city. We then have the LRT connection, and you can see there's a station which is being built right now. It's going to be operational in the spring of next year, and it's going to provide a direct connection into the arena building, and that's about a $7 million cost, and that's going to be borne solely by the city. Similar to the way we build LRT connections to many major facilities, public areas, the existing Rexall Place, major shopping centers, hospitals, university, the city's responsible for that infrastructure. And when I say the city, it's actually mostly provincially funded. We then have a pedestrian connection which connects the LRT to the Winter Garden, and so we have public access right through the arena. And this is actually one of the major selling features that we had with the community, because it really makes it a public building. That is open to the public. They can actually look into the arena. whether they have a ticket or not, and that ability to look into the arena is available whenever the LRT is in operation. So the majority of the time people can actually see in, you can actually see the scoreboard, you can see what's going on, so it truly becomes a bit of a public building. So the northeast corner, we have a community rink going in, which we initially didn't think would be a major desirability on behalf of the communities, but it was really embraced through the public engagement sessions. And it's going to be a different type of community rink. I've been getting some pushback from a lot of the minor hockey associations and sporting groups saying that we don't have any parking for a community rink. Who is going to bring their kid down to play hockey when they have to pay $15 or $20 to park, plus rent the ice and everything else? So it's not, and we don't actually think it's going to be used for minor hockey in a great way. We think that most of the evening time is going to be adult recreational hockey, or there's going to be a lot of community programming that takes place. It's going to be probably the only rink in the city where we got skate rentals, a lot of more community programming hours. I think Terwilliger right now has 1 hour per week. We're probably looking at closer to maybe 2 hours per day in terms of community programming. So it'll be learn to skate, figure skating, community skating programs, inline skating, shinny hockey, all those types of things. It's also going to be a practice facility for the Oilers. They're going to be using it for the practices during the day, which is, I think they start at 9 in the morning and they have it booked pretty much until about 3 in the afternoon, which is good for us because they're going to be paying full pop on the rental, and it's really difficult to rent out ice time during those hours, so it really helps the city's bottom line because the community rink is going to be owned and operated by the city. We're just leasing it out to the Oilers for their practices. The practices are also open to the public to view. People can bring their lunch, they can sit in the stands, there's 1,000 seats, you can watch them practice, and it brings, right now, if you don't have a ticket to the Oiler team to watch a game, it's difficult to get in there, but this is going to be open when they're in town practicing, so we think it helps from that aspect as well. It's also going to be home to the McEwen Griffins. They've applied for university status for their hockey program, and because of that, there's some upgrades that we had to look at: increased number of seats, increased dressing room, better scoreboard, those types of things. So they are kicking in an additional $2 million to cover those costs to make it a little bit better facility, and it makes it one that they can use. Finishing off the block, we have private sector development, and that's under the control of the Cates Group. And really, that's more or less a covering over top of the loading area, the loading docks. One of the nice things about this building is that it looks good from all 4 sides because we've shielded the loading area, and the loading comes in sort of mid-block, just below where the community rink sign is. So it's an area that's going to be developed by the Cates Group. It's a difficult one for them to lease out and to design an area that's in essence a roof over a truck loading area. So they're having their challenges, but they have assured us that they intend to proceed with that development. Then you can see the Baccarat Casino just to the east. It's our intention to leave that operational for as long as we can. And right now we are in discussions with the Baccarat as to what their future plans are, but for now they're going to remain. So what are the costs? The City of Edmonton is kicking in $280 million. $200 million of that is coming out of that increase in taxes. And what that is, it's not just if you're already in the downtown and your taxes go up by $100 a year, that additional $100 will be going into the project. But if a new office building comes on or a new condo gets built, all of those taxes go to the project as well. And with the expected growth that's going to happen around the arena project, we think that $199 million will be repaid within 20 years. At the end of 20 years, the CRL ends and all of those increasing taxes goes into general city revenues, and the project is over. We're also taking in another $80 million. That's coming from a number of sources. One is the taxes that are going to be paid for the arena building itself. Another is from increased parking revenues that are going to occur both with parkades that the city runs and some on-street parking in the area. And also there's a subsidy right now that the city of Edmonton is paying to Northlands for operation of the Oilers at Rexall Place. That subsidy is going to get redirected into construction costs for the arena. The Cates Group then is coming up with $24 million cash up front, and they're entering into a lease over 35 years, which will generate $140 million, which will repay the capital debt. They're also responsible to administer a ticket surcharge, probably somewhere in the order of the existing surcharge right now of 7%, and they're responsible for collecting that and remitting it to the city, and if they collect more than that, they get to keep it. If they collect less than that, they have to make up the difference. We're looking at that as $125 million debt that is owed by the Cates Group to the city, and they're going to be making those payments by way of the ticket tax. We're then looking at other government funding. There was $25 million identified through the Regional Collaboration Program towards the capital, and an additional $14 million set from each of the province and the federal government towards the community ring. That's a view of the exterior design. With that's the Winter Garden, and you can see at the south end of the Winter Garden there, it empties out onto a plaza. One of the concerns we had when we were talking about wanting to make the city walkable and get people back on the street, criticism was, so why are you building a major overpass that are getting people off the street? And really it's because 104th Avenue is a very busy street. It's going to be 5 or 6 lanes. It's going to be the only major traffic corridor for the next little while. Jasper Avenue is going to be under construction for a number of years. We've got LRT going in on 102nd Avenue. So it's going to be a major east-west connector across the city, and we felt that we needed to provide safe passage to the arena from that. 70% of the clients going to an event at the arena will be entering through the south end of that Winter Garden there. And really, that's where you bring people back down to the street. It's a series of escalators and stairs that bring people to that plaza, and from there they'll be dispersing. So the activity is going to stand at the south end of the garden there on the plaza. That's a view from the north. So again, it gets back to, you can sort of see the LRT station in the foreground, and it's some of the development that has been identified for coming on stream, where we've actually seen designs for many of those buildings specifically, which are underway. So it's a significant amount of development around the arena. This will work about it. That's a fly-through. You sort of imagine flying around, looking at this place. It's not going to work. Oops. The interior of the arena is going to be one of the nicest in the league, high quality seating. The lower bowl is going from 6,000 seats to 9,000 seats. A couple of levels then in between before you get to the upper bowl. It's an area called clubs, suites, mini suites, and lounge seating. Lounge seating is meant more for small business, and here's what it looks like here. And as opposed to a suite where you buy a suite and you invite some clients or some associates and you have them enclosed in that room to do business for the evening, this is meant more for networking and mingling. So the entire level is sealed off, but you can do business, and you would buy that in groups of 4 tickets. And each table has 4 seats at it, and that's how you would watch the game. I actually had the opportunity to sit in one of those seats at a game in Columbus. Those seats have been used in Columbus and Pittsburgh very effectively, and with the small business being the major driver of the Edmonton market, we think it'll fit the Edmonton situation really well. This is a view of the interior concourse, much higher, more open, wider, natural light. Again, you're able to see right into the bowl from the sides. This is from the Winter Garden, looking at the entrance, the ticket line. Again, you can see lots of natural light, futuristic design, very open and airy. If you turn around and look the other direction towards the south end of the Winter Garden, it looks like that. So again, you can see that there's lots of room for people to walk back and forth, but there's also, you can use it as a venue for a banquet or a small concert or a band or a farmer's market or any types of number of things can happen in there. This gives you a sort of the street view, and you can see how it's the top of the arena is sort of shaped like an oil drop and drifting snow. At the south end of the Winter Garden gives you an idea of the nature of the plaza. And that's the pedestrian area. It's public space, and it's going to be surrounded by commercial space. And we think it's going to be a major attractor in the downtown. And that's a street view, so I'll be standing at the south corner of the Greyhound building, looking across the parking lot. That's what we believe it's going to look like. Very electric and animated. So the community benefits, we have been in discussions. We've actually struck a community advisory committee with the various social agencies and the community leagues in the area so that we have a good neighbor policy. There are regular meetings established with the Oilers, the operating group of the arena, the city, and the community to make sure that issues are identified and addressed immediately. The first one out of the gate that we've been asked to look at in detail and not wait until the arena is about to open is parking. Public transportation is a key element of the new arena. We have the LRT entrance right on the facility, but in addition to that, there will be 7 LRT stations within a 10-minute walk of the arena. It's also served by bus service already. It's central to our bus system, and it's going to be served very well by public transit. For those people who do want to park, there are 12,000 parking stalls within a 5-minute walk of the new arena. Most of them are heated underground or above ground parkades, which sit vacant in the evenings. They're primarily used for office during the day. So it's going to be a little bit of a shift in the model where people aren't going to have their stalls in their office building 24/7. It's going to be, they've got that stall until perhaps 6 o'clock at night, in which case if they want to stay longer, they're going to be paying a premium. That model has worked very well in Pittsburgh and in Columbus, and we see no reason why we can't implement it successfully here. We're constructing this on a postage stamp, really. We've got constraints. To the north, we have the LRT. To the west, we have an apartment complex. To the south, we have 104th Avenue. And to the east, we have the Baccarat Casino. So it's going to be a very complex construction process that's going to take 30 months to build. So in early 2014, really it's the end of January, we're looking at getting a guaranteed maximum price for the facility from our construction contractor, PCL. The final drawings are being sent to PCL this Friday, and then they're going to be working with all of their sub-consultants and trades to fine-tune the pricing and the drawings, and coming back in January with yes, we can build it for the $604 million, or no, we can't. And we're hoping they can. We've been fine-tuning the numbers line by line down to $5,000 savings on different elements, and it's 17 by 11 sheets. We got 9 pages of individual line items that we've been going through meticulously for the last month to keep that budget in line. We're looking at having a groundbreaking in March of next year, and the arena is to open September 2nd, 2016. And there's a lot of information on our website, and I actually have brought some handouts that I can provide as well, to provide some additional information. So, that's my presentation.
Probably have a few minutes for questions. Bill?
Yeah. Question I have under your funding, you mentioned other, which was regional cooperation, 24 million. Is that municipalities in the capital region?
It is, and that was the one that went to a vote. It was last fall, and it was was a close vote, and it came forward that the majority of the region was supporting the arena. This sort of came about, we've been requesting funding from the provincial government from day one, and it was always $100 million that we had identified from the start as being something that we thought from being from the city was appropriate. You know, we look at the fact that I believe it's 42% or something of the season ticket holders are actually not from within the city of Edmonton. It's regional. A lot of the concert goers is regional. Hosting the CFR, it's regional. So we felt that this was not just an Edmonton facility, that it was a regional facility, and as such we thought that provincial support was appropriate. A number of issues came up during the process, flooding, concerns, the budget, oil. It was a myriad of issues, and the province actually just had difficulty in securing funding for this project. And it ended up being an issue that was raised through the capital region and got support.
So my other question is, other than going to the game for residents living in the various communities in the capital region, what benefit does that provide them? Because they are the ones that will end up paying higher costs for parking and things like that, and yet they've invested into the arena. So what's their benefit from that?
Well,
other than going to a game?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not just a hockey arena. It's you know, I travel to Europe to go to interesting places and to have things to do, and we want to make this area an interesting place. And the arena isn't the centerpiece. I think the plaza is really the centerpiece, and that's a catalyst to bring people to the center. And I think what it's going to do, for one thing, with the development that it's going to attract, and the tax money that's going to be generated from that development, you know, we see the actual initial investment disappearing in 15 to 20 years. So we're going to be left with a legacy. We'll have a class facility, we'll have ongoing revenues, we'll have new development, and we'll have a revitalized downtown.
Well, that's part of my question. If we in the capital region are investing, what's our benefit? Like, are we going to share in some of that revenue because we invested into the project? Because we still have to come to the councils in the capital region for ratification. That hasn't happened yet. That's a concern I have. As a business person, I like to invest in business, but I like to know that there's a return on my investment of some sort. I look at the residents in Edmonton. A lot can take the LRT. We don't have one in the West End. I guess there's one over
there will be.
at River Cree, but there's not a lot of access for people living in the West at the present time, maybe in the future. But I don't see the cost benefit to the capital region investors. I'll use that word because they're investing. But they should get some return for their investment because they're going to pay all the costs. They're going to pay to go to the games. They're going to pay additional dollars, which is pretty high for parking, which is okay. But what are we going to get in return?
But, yeah, and I guess you sort of have to boil it back to there is a limited supply of tax dollars. And we feel that this development will generate new tax dollars. And if the city of Edmonton is going to be having this kind of tax infusion and this kind of revenue stream generated, it may make the city's requests or desires you know, not as great as they would have been if we didn't have this development, we didn't have this kind of tax support coming in. So that's part of the return.
My last comment is I would suggest that you have some good answers to that, what I've been asking, because I know that's going to be an important response.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Any other question?
Northlands, will the arena continue to compete for events and things like that? Like you said, CFRs.
Yeah, we can. That's up to Northlands, really. They're an arm's length group. They receive funding from the city, but we've been working with them. It's the city's desire that Northlands remain financially stable and secure. Certainly, having a population that Edmonton has and having two major facilities is a challenge. and studies have shown across North America that it's difficult to make that work. So whether Northland or whether Rexall gets repurposed, redeveloped, changed, direct competition, different markets, it's something that we've said that we'll work with Northlands going forward. I don't think they've actually focused yet on what their preference is as to whether they want to do an open competition or whether they're looking at an alternative use.
John?
You had indicated that this project would come in at about $480 million.
For the arena itself.
And you're doing some number crunching from now until obviously next spring. You further indicated that you're hoping, I believe the word was hoping, that the builder can build it for the amount of money that's out there. Is there a plan B if the builder can't?
The plan B is there's no more money coming from the city, and there's no more money coming from the Cates Group. So if the drawings come in and suggest that we can't build that drawing, that arena for 480, then we have to decide what we're going to take out of it.
Okay. We have one final question. Anybody has a question? No? All right. Well, on behalf of the Rotary Club of Spruce Grove, thank you for coming out and speaking with us.
Thank you.
The club makes a donation to end polio on behalf of our speakers, so thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.